Good evening, fuckers. We are back once again with the next Train Simulator Classic request video, and this one is another of mine. I'm sure you're thrilled by this prospect, but yes, we're making good progress through my list of locos and routes that I particularly want to cover. So yeah, I'm quite keen to do get some more of those done, and that's why we are here. So the route for this, we are back on the Welsh Marches, which we did not that long ago actually, but we're on a very different part here. So we are starting at Abergavenny and our destination is the Alexandra dock goods loop, which is in Newport. It's not a particularly long journey, it's less than 20 miles, I think it's something like 18. So in that regard it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Now, as far as the specifics, it's spring, it's cloudy, and it's 10 AM. But the big thing really is that the loco, it's a loco that, yeah, it's making its debut, and it is a long overdue debut. I get the feeling that those people who do request these videos, and let's face it, it's not exactly a vast number of them, but I get the feeling that none of them are particularly big fans of the Class 56, because it always feels like it is always being avoided. Yeah, there we go. So yes, we are in a Class 56, and the train consists of 32 coal wagons. So it's a fair old length. I think the coal wagons though are empty, which is a bit of a shame, but there you go. Yeah, if you think 32 of these coal wagons sounds like a lot, wait till you see it at the station. Abergavenny is, it's a relatively major town in Wales, and yet it has a really small railway station, and I've never been able to figure out why. And well, let's just say, yeah, this train, I think we can barely get a quarter of it actually into the station itself. So right, that's the setup anyway, so let's get this up and running. And you'll find that there is something slightly different about how I am playing the game. So here we are in the Class 56, and yes, I am playing with the minimal HUD. Is it because I think now I'm good enough to be able to play the game with the minimal HUD? No, I don't think I am at all. I will explain exactly why I am doing it once we have finished this route. There are one or two issues with this loco in the game, but if you play the game with minimal HUD or with no HUD at all, you may well not be aware of this issue. It would certainly explain why I've looked for months for a fix for this particular issue, and I've never found it. And I can only assume it's because most people who would make you know, such patches and that for game issues are the sort of people who play with either minimal or no HUD, and therefore are probably like blissfully unaware that this issue even exists. But yes, anyway, you can see just how long our train is. Unfortunately, the coal hoppers are all empty. That will certainly help us, though, when it comes to getting underway. And yeah, you can see on the route display here just how little of the train can actually fit in this station. So, Alexandra Dock Goods Loop is actually 20.89 miles away, so it's further than I thought it was. So anyway, let's get the... I can't remember what the keys are to get the lights on. Let's... yeah, I'll have to do it this way. Right. There we go. Nope. There we are. Right, lights are on. Head back into the cab. I think we've got a couple of settings to change here. So cab lights are on. I think that is all I can do there. There's no side or rear options. Yeah, unfortunately there's no option as far as changing the brake timings. But then the 56 was built purely for freight. It was never intended for passenger service of any kind, so it's very likely that yeah, they just didn't bother putting the brake timings on. They are just always set to yeah, goods. Okay, let's set her up. Brakes off. Let's get underway. So, the Class 56, I mean, if you were to look at it outside, you'd be forgiven for thinking it looks like a somewhat souped up Class 47. Well, there's a very good reason for that. That is pretty much what it is. It was basically given the Class 47 body shell, and all of the other like freight specifics were then sort of like fitted inside this 47. I think it is slightly bigger, not by very much though. So the 56, the design for it was originally drawn up in, it was either 1970 or 71, and the plan was, yeah, we want a freight specialist locomotive. And even though we're talking 1970s, they came up with the idea of having it built overseas. It was not going to be built in Britain. The unions were, understandably, far from pleased about it, but British Rail were absolutely adamant about this. To this day, I really do not know why. And in the 70s, just like today, if you wanted, you know, heavy to industrial level machinery being manufactured, you went to one of two countries. You went to either Japan or Germany. Now, Japan was simply too far away, considering that we were going to be importing these things fully built. Importing them from Japan was not an option. So with Japan ruled out, it meant that the choice was obvious. Yep, we had them built in Romania. Now, I'm not talking about Romania of today, you know, because Romania of today, of course, is that absolute haven of high-level industrial engineering. No, I'm talking about Romania in the 1970s, which was still under the rule of Ceausescu, who was basically scooping up almost as much money as a Premier League footballer each week from, you know, all of the workers of the country. Meanwhile, the the workers who were, you know, building anything were, you know, being paid about half a potato every week. And unsurprisingly, their workmanship was not fantastic. So when the first two Class 56s arrived in this country, fully built, arrived from Romania, the pride of Romania, British Rail were, you know, really pleased to get hold of them. It had taken the best part of a year. It was now 1972, which is the year that these things were supposed to enter service. The fact that I have said supposed to enter service probably gives you a pretty good idea of how it went. Took delivery of them and immediately put them on the test runs. Except that the moment they were taken off the ships, and the moment that people just looked at them, they could see that something wasn't quite right. The build quality was not quite there, by which I mean it wasn't even remotely good enough. I mean, a locomotive like this needs, you know, even weight distribution, and of course in locos that means the engine has to be right slap bang in the middle. And yeah, the engines were not right slap bang in the middle. Now we're talking about engineering here, so you would expect it to be, you know, they were out by, like, you know, a few millimeters or something. No, we're talking they were out by about 8 feet. They were way closer, the engines were way closer to cab 2 than they were to cab 1. So weight distribution was farcical. But we had these new locos. We, you know, we had to try them out. So Loco 1 was attached to a train. It was not by any stretch of the imagination a long or particularly heavy train. This was just testing after all. And what happened was that it started up, and as the power was applied to the wheels, the front of the loco started to lift up. Now, it's not like it was doing a wheelie or anything, but it was clearly raising up from the rails, which meant that the front wheels had little to no traction of any kind, and the thing couldn't move. If it had been done on a curved track, it would have immediately derailed at best. At worst, it would have just drifted off to a side and flopped over on its side, just, yeah, completely useless. Unsurprisingly, it went back for some, shall we say, rather badly needed repairs and alterations. And all other 56s that were due to be shipped over, yeah, they all went back to the drawing board, and they pretty much had to rebuild the entire things from scratch. And BR also made an additional change, which was that the parts were still manufactured in Romania, but now they were shipped over as parts. They were not actually put together in Romania. So the parts were shipped over here, and then they were put together in this country. I think it was by Brell. But this freight train that was supposed to enter service in 1972 finally entered service in 1976, 4 years late. And even though after doing all of the repairs and everything, the performance of the 76 was massively improved, but one area where, yeah, the improvements just did not work at all was the reliability. Reliability of the Class 56 was never anything short of dreadful. A 50 mph section coming up here, with us being on a 1 in 104 climb, yeah, no problem with there as far as the that speed reduction as we go through Pontypool station. Trying to at least maintain our speed. I mean, obviously on this 1 in 104 uphill section, and even though the coal hoppers are empty, we do have 32 of them, so there is still quite a bit of weight there. Now you may have heard something there. See if I can do it again. No, I didn't do it that time. But what you heard there was a bit of a preview as to why I am playing, driving this train like this with the minimal HUD. Oh, I can certainly see why this is a 50 mph section. And we are gaining speed as well, because, yeah, we are now going downhill. Need to apply some braking here, yeah, a bit sharpish. So we'll, there you go. I think we can release the brakes now. Oh, we're now on an 80 mph section. So, you know, I can get away with releasing the brakes, but 1 in 95 downhill. So yes, the reliability of the Class 56 was always terrible. At its best, it had a reliability rating of 60%, which effectively means that, yeah, while these things were operational for every 10 that were available to use, 4 of them, for whatever reason, were, yeah, could not go out in the service. Now, if it wasn't for the reliability, it would have actually been a pretty decent loco. It's got the power, there's no doubt about that. It really does have like a really powerful engine. I really hope that red signal is not for us. No, it's not. Fuck for that. So yeah, it has the power, no question of that. It's able to pull, like, you know, some incredible amounts of freight. But its reputation was pretty much destroyed when the first 2 arrived, and they were in such, you know, such atrocious condition. But the 56s did actually last quite a long time, thanks in no small part to, as we're going through Cumbraun, some later modifications that they underwent. And these modifications were quite hefty. I'm going to start slowing us down, we're only about 8 miles from Alexandra docks, so... But yeah, they underwent hefty engine modifications, brake modifications, not just brake strength, but brake type. There was a huge amount of modifications done to it. So much so that by the end of it, it was treated as a completely new class of locomotive. And it became the Class 69. And the Class 69s had much better reliability, they were more powerful. Unfortunately though, they came along too late, because we already had the Class 66s out there. And while the Class 69 was a great freight train, no 2 ways about it, the 66 just blew it away like it blew away all other freight trains. I do believe there are still a few Class 69s still in service, but the 56 is consigned to the history books. No more of those are still running. And despite its terrible reputation and its terrible reliability, I've always quite liked the 56, and it's why I do rather wish that the requests for it had been coming along, but they didn't. I suspect the reason that there were no requests for it was, yeah, because its reputation was that it was a dreadful loco. So we're on a 1 in 120 downhill section here, so I'm having to try and ease down our acceleration. I mean, I realise we could be doing 70 on this stretch, but we have already had some sort of, you know, the freight battering us from behind. Not much of it, I must admit, but it has happened. So I don't really want to be thundering along at 70 mph, especially as the top operational speed of the Class 56 is 60 mph. But even though that's its top operational speed, it can go past 60 just fine. It doesn't have the greatest acceleration, but again, it's a freight specialist. You know, fast acceleration is not a priority, and neither is high top speed. And let's be fair, it doesn't have either of those things, so we haven't had much in the way of exterior views of our Class 56 here. I mean, this part of the Welsh Marches line is not exactly the most scenic, but yeah, you still want the occasional decent view, don't you? So now that we are, well, I mean, we've been coasting now for quite some time, partially because we are on a downhill gradient, which means that our speed has been building up anyway, but also because, yeah, Alexandra Dock goods loop is less than 5 miles away. I do not want to be having to put the brakes on really hard when we get there. So I'm trying to bring us down to a steady sort of stop. I think we are, yeah, we will need to put the brakes on a little heavier. I think, yes, 35, we're okay for now, so... This curve is going on for quite a while. I'm surprised that the speed limit is as high as 60 on this. So our speed is going up again. We're on 1 in 122 downhill section. I'm going to continue to let it coast. Got a 40 mph section coming up. We're well below that, and I certainly don't think we'll be above that by the time we get there. And Alexandra Dock goods loop is about 3 3/4 miles. The only thing that I don't really like about, well, actually, there are two things I don't really like about this train in the game. The first is it has a very boring livery, and the second is, yeah, the issue, which is why I'm driving this train with the minimal HUD. Like I say, once we've done this run, I will show you what that issue is. But if you're okay with playing the game with minimal HUD or even no HUD, then you shouldn't let this issue put you off getting this loco, because it's a great loco. Despite its reputation, I do like the Class 56. It's better than its reputation is, or at least it is now. And as far as, like, you know, driving one in the game, it's great. So we have 20 mph at limit, because we are getting quite close to the goods yards. So I'm having to gradually bring our speed down. And hopefully, with us being on level ground, we'll... you've heard there... Let's see, it didn't do it that time, but yeah. This constant sort of like the sound of the brake handles is sort of like bumping away. Well, if you play the game with the full HUD, that happens far more frequently. And worse still, let's see if we... There you go. I mean, it is actually stopping now, but yeah, worse still, the acceleration throttle does the same thing. But, of course, typical, now that I'm recording, neither of them are doing it, so... But that is, or was, the reason why I was playing with the minimal HUD. I'll keep the HUD up now, and we'll see if it happens. At any time between now and yeah, the end of the scenario. Well, but notice also we have had none of the missing track. So yeah, that patch that I installed that fixed it has absolutely done the job. So Newport platform 3 is coming up, but we're going through there. We're not actually stopping at Newport station. And even though we could speed up, you know, this 40 mph section, as soon as we do it, not only do we hit a 30, but we then hit a 20. So yeah, there is no point whatsoever in taking it up any faster than 20 mph. So yeah, there you go. We were very briefly in that 30 mph zone, and now we're back in the 20 again. So yeah, definitely we're not wanting to do that. So here we are at Newport station. So but we are not actually stopping at this particular station. So the goods loop is still 1.3 miles. I could take it up to 30, but no, I'll take it up to 25. Yeah, we have a 15 mph section coming up. And and the goods loop is also now showing on the display itself. So is that a yellow? Yes. Is it single or a double? Dull yellow. That's alright, I can take double yellow. So next one will be single yellow, and then yeah, so we got to stop before this. This signal here is going to be red. So let's start applying slight braking. In fact, more than slight braking, we've got to get ourselves down to 15 here. That 15 has come up to us a lot faster than I thought it was going to. I think we are, yeah, we are not braking fast enough. Oh, it's going to be close. Actually, yeah, there we go, we've done it. So we are on the goods loop itself now, right here. We just need to make sure that we've got the entire train on it. And even on those occasions where I was braking a lot harder than I would have liked, because of the brake timings on this thing, yeah, no worries with regards to potential derailments. So this AWS ramp will set off the alarm because the signal's up ahead all red, or it will do fuck all nothing. Yeah, this is the one that will set off the alarm. There you go. Alright, let's start braking before we end up going through any red aspects, because yeah, I don't want to be braking too hard. The entire train is now inside the yeah, the section that was highlighted. So there we are. That is the Class 56. Yes, it had its issues, but I think it's a much better train than its reputation, you know, made it out to be. And that is, yeah, the Class 56 from Abergavenny to the Alexandra dock goods loop in Newport. So I think I've got a couple of speeding errors. Yeah, it's 3. I mean, to be honest, getting those kind of speeding errors in a Class 56 is pretty unforgivable. But yeah, that was me not paying enough attention. So yeah, absolutely put my hands up to that. That was my fuck up. But there we go. The Class 56 makes its long-awaited debut. It means now that I have just one train left on my list, and only one route as well. So yeah, let's see how long it takes for either of those to appear. But in the meantime, yeah, video done. I was quite happy with how that went. And alright, I didn't really get the chance to show the issue with the braking and the constant sort of like bumping sound from the brake and the accelerator, or the yeah, the power throttles, but they weren't doing it. So it's as if it's worse on some lines than others, and this line it's not too bad. Did it occasionally, but never for very long. So, oh well, there we are. So that is that video done, and we will see you at the next one.